ECI, the Elastic Network presents second annual Future Packet Transport Networks Conference, a UBM event powered by Huawei.
Axol is all about the 5G. You know, when we are talking about the front haul, why we need a front haul? Because when you are splitting the radio from RRU and BBUs, you need a optical connectivity. Okay, why we need optical connectivity? It's a very low latency communications. The BBUs and RRUs has to communicate with a very, very precise low latency services. So you have the front haul. Then we are talking about the so many data center in the same metro network, you need a full mesh connectivity. So you are talking about a middle haul. And then from a middle haul, I'll go to backhaul. Backhaul, everybody understand from last 10 years, we have been building the mobile backhaul. So combine all of this will become Axol. And in this, what are things I'm going to have? I'm definitely going to have an intelligent network. I will introduce the software-defined network. We will have the low latency services. We will have the high throughput access ring, aggregation rings, and the core ring. And then all of this will be low latency services. Huawei has been heavily investing on this technology to promote 50G interfaces. And it is not only we. Actually, the OIF has already released in the month of June, a couple of months back, the second version, and it is fully standardized. And IEEE is also standardizing it. Why? Because it brings a lot of cost benefit. Cost benefit is that if you analyze the 50G and the 100G, to build the 100G, there is a technology called NRH and the PAM4. So the difference is that in this, you will have only one 25G transceivers with the 2 bits. So you're able to achieve the throughput at low cost. Mathematically, it should be 1/4 to achieve the 100G, but it may not be that much of close, but definitely there is a saving. And apart from the cost saving, it is also how smoothly you can move from 50G access ring to 100G. You just need another fiber, and you bundle this to 50G interface and make it 100G. So day one, if your throughput in the particular mobile backhaul is 100G, maybe you can go 100G. But today, nobody knows, which circle or which access ring will demand 100G. So you can plan 50G and multiple of 50G, and like that, you can do that. Latency, I think a lot of discussion has happened on the latency, but the question is, how do you achieve the low latency? There are 2 critical aspects on that low latency. One is definitely a distance, The more and more the round trip is there, far away, it will take a lot of latency, okay? That's the reason people are saying that when I'm putting a communication from vehicle to vehicle, and if I have my packet core in another city, look at the amount of travel it has to go, From Mumbai to Pune, and I have my gateway only in Pune, vehicle to vehicle communication cannot happen, I need to distribute my packet core very, very close. And that's the reason mobile edge computing is being talked, Second one is the devices, Device or routers, whatever you're having, has to process the packet very, very quickly, We have to design our chip, we have to design our router in such a way that it should be in the range of microsecond now, We can't afford to be in a millisecond, because when we are talking about a 1 to 3 millisecond round trip in the transport network, we will be transferring, going through a multiple routers. And if every router is going to process the packet and take it wrong, we have to have this hardware also. So it is no longer only the round trip from a fiber standpoint and distance, also from a device capability perspective. Globally, we are tied up with many leading tier 1 operators who has already taken steps in terms of 5G testings. So either we are focusing onto the NFV, SDN, some operators we are talking about how we are doing this, the network slicing as a concept, or we are talking about the clocking. So, and we are looking for a similar engagement, I think, with the leading operators who are focusing on that. Let's do some POCs and get into that depth. Because the 5G is still a couple of years here from India, and we have to do a lot of testing. And another thing is that maybe some services are very popular in US or Europe or maybe China. We have to create our own catalog of services. When we create, we have to test it in locally. We can't rely on any test reports globally. Let's jointly work and maybe do some, and have maybe Indian, some logos here, and then we say that, we are doing also 5G testings.
So I guess we've spoken a lot about 5G, LTE advanced, and so on and so forth. I think there are a couple of sessions with respect to, how are we actually going to make money, right? So this session, keep it interactive. I think we've got good industry veterans here. We start off with some technological advances in the fiber space itself and also in the core transport network, which will enable 5G and LTE advanced. I guess 5G is about 5 years away. Some of the technological advances and a little bit of a global perspective. If Haim, you can please provide that to start off the session with respect to some technological advances in the fiber and the core transport space, which are needed for 5G.
With 5G, we'll have to have much faster speeds in a much more economical way, which means when we are looking at core transport networks today, they are very sparsely used, not efficiently used, and they are used in a static manner. And when we look at the trends today, we see again, and we've seen that the ARPU stays the same while the cost per bit needs to go down dramatically. And the only way to do that is to have faster speeds on the transport. That means that when you go from one technology to the other, you need to go with faster speeds because then the cost per bit goes dramatically. You also need to take advantage of all of the technologies that optimize themselves to the network. Things like flex grid that enables you to squeeze the most in terms of speed and efficiency from your fibers, flex OTN, and the multi-layer connectivity between them in order to make sure that all of your fibers are fully utilized as you need them in a dynamic manner.
Okay, thank you. So just after he's given that view, an operator view of how this can get better for 5G, and then obviously some operator initiatives from the operator side.
The infrastructure in India, maybe the roads and all, they are not that much developed because the streets and all maybe in some corners of the city. And to dig that, it is a lot of challenges. You have already lot of utility lying in those roads, and while you dig those roads, for connecting your fiber, lot of challenges, local issue, sometimes it may come. And there is chances of damaging the other utilities. So what I mean to say is, although the rules and regulations, the government is focusing to improve that, to help us for a better rule and uniform policies for infrastructure readiness, at the same time, the criticality in laying of these fibers and the time duration, what it takes, as we know, it is infrastructure work, that is the main bottleneck in making this infrastructure readiness for the 5G or 4G.
Thank you. So, Manish, now I think also realistically we should agree that it's possibly not going to be 100% fiberization, right? So there is going to be a mix of fiber, microwave, relays, in-band relays, whatever. So are there significant advances in like a microwave which will support 5G, initially at least, and from your latency and performance perspective, and how long are people supposed to live with that?
No, I think so. Gone are those days for the microwave where probably microwave was only able to handle STM1 or STM4 kind of capacities. Maybe all other vendors also are having solutions, but definitely we as Huawei are working on microwave solutions also, wherein those are 5G microwaves. That is how we call them, 5G microwaves, because they can handle for capacity, or we have solutions wherein microwave can handle capacities of up to 10 Gbps. The thing is that it gets limited by distance. See, always we have seen that there have been something which has come sequentially. So we saw 2G, then came the era of 3G. Probably we thought 3G will took it very, very slowly, and we took it casually. So the fiber deployment, even though we could have speeded it up, but we kind of lazily worked on it that, okay, probably 3G is not going to pick up that fast. Similarly, the same mistake probably is done for 4G also, wherein we have some fiberization, as Subrata or Pradyuman mentioned, in terms of 20%, but probably that fiberization could have been better, and that could have made the first reaping step for 5G for the years. But probably we relaxed it. Now, why I say so is the right opportunity, because we are doing so much fiberization in the name of FTTH or small cell, and precisely earlier we were looking for big fiber rings because 2G and 3G had wide coverages. So probably we, in a ring kind of architecture, in case of one BTS goes down, there was a huge impact in terms of traffic or the customer experience. But in terms of 5G, because the densification is going to happen, so even we can think of some linear fiber topologies. That linear fiber topologies will not impact only a small portion, but out of the various technologies wherein COMP, wherein the same user or the same UE gets latched to different nearby or neighboring BTS or 5G or 4G, probably it can also improve the user experience precisely, and it can also help in terms of, because now we are going for linear topology, so it can even work on the less capex numbers. However, we have to intensify the way we are deploying fiber. We cannot take that leisure again in case of 5G, what we have seen in 3G, 4G. So that is what I would think on it.
Thank you. As a passive infra provider, what kind of business model changes that you actually envisage coming? Transport co is one of them, but what else from a business model perspective do you see changing?
See, fiberization has a huge capex. Every organization, I think, Pradyumna will, maybe can second my thought. The delay happens because of the deferment of the capex. Because when you make an investment, there are investment happening from the 3G times is happening in the three front. One is the spectrum, second is the network, third is the fiber plus transport. In 2G space, the transport or overall microwave and some fiber pop was around 5 to 10%. In the 3G era, it came to around 20-25%. But in the 4G and 5G era, it's almost half. So this needs really a sincere as an industry to be thought, and maybe a fiber co or a transport co or a collaboration among themselves. Any one of it's not only one solution will work. Even a E-band microwave and all those has to be explored as an industry. Then a solution can be achieved.
5G is a major step in terms of technology and also in terms of telecom thinking. It's no longer just another G that it gives you more speeds. It's basically a new type of service delivery platform, a new concept for telecoms. And 5G is now leading the way over the fixed networks. If in the past, mobile networks have been a crippled version of fixed mobile on the go, now 5G changes the game. 5G is leading and much better than the fixed networks. So it's better to start working now and understand what are the challenges and how to fix them.
ECI, the Elastic Network, presents second annual Future Packet Transport Networks Conference, a UBM event powered by Huawei.